to meet you. Good to see you. Thank you.
How are you doing? Okay.
Good.
The desserts are good. The beers are good. The schnapps is good. A lobster salad yesterday. It was spectacular.
T-800, Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'll be back.
You know, I didn't have the foggiest idea, nor did he, that this would become the most historic movie line, period. Within 6 months period, I was offered like 10 great action movies. I want to go and be a leading man. I want to be the highest paid actor. I walked around on the street with little posing trunks. It was winter, it was snowing already, and everyone was looking. I was more interested in eventually newspapers and magazine reporters are going to turn up.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
I'm Lu Yu. Nice to meet you. Good to see you.
Well, I've not been beaten for the last 7 years.
You are the top bodybuilder.
Right, yeah.
But you are a Terminator, right?
Yes. Hasta la vista, baby.
I want to be the governor for the people. I want to represent everybody.
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
I'm back. You have some breakfast?
Well, I have some at home.
This hotel has the best breakfast, I tell you. And they're making handmade noodles. Look at this.
Yes, you really should try their
Look
noodle
at the
bar.
noodles.
They have the best noodles in Beijing. 他说你们的面条特别好 and they have the
We come back later on, okay? Disrupt them now. Get them to work. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's unbelievable how you...
And they also have the best Peking duck in this hotel.
Oh, it's like the desserts are good, the beers are good, the schnapps is good. A lobster salad yesterday, it was spectacular.
Are you still having a little bit jet lag?
A little bit, but nothing that I'm worried about.
Traveling back and forth between America and China is the worst because the jet lag is the worst.
We are doing the around the world tour. So we went first from Los Angeles to London,
Okay.
which is 1/3.
That's not too bad.
Then from London we came over here
South Korea
to
first,
South
right?
Korea.
Yeah.
And then we backtracked
Okay.
to Beijing. So, you know, it's all doable.
And after Beijing, where are you going?
Then now we're going back tonight to Los Angeles. And then in a week from now, we are going back to Japan.
How was the premiere last night?
Premiere was very entertaining.
Ladies and gentlemen, 我们的 original T-800 Terminator Arnold Schwarzenegger， 给他一个掌声。哇，没想到在2019又可以看到这个画面。We are so happy to represent all China.
Thank you, and it is great to be back again in China. I've come here so many times. I love coming to China. Beijing, beautiful city, historic city. So it's really great to be with all of you here. And of course, we are here because of you, because of the fans, because without the fans, there is no movie. So thank you very much for being such dedicated fans, Terminator fans. Thank you very much.
You know, every country does everything differently. So the Chinese have a different way of doing things. So it was very funny. All of a sudden they were rolling out a drum, me to beat the drum to the beat of the Terminator music. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, no one has ever done that in America. They're entertaining, very entertaining.
I haven't got the chance to see the movie yet, but as a movie buff myself, and I've seen quite a lot of your movies, actually. Do you think I'm going to like this movie? Do you think I will be satisfied with this movie?
I hope so. I mean, the people really like it. I think that we have now had test screenings in America and in Germany and England and in South Korea, here yesterday in China, and the people really respond positively. They think it's the best Terminator movie since the second Terminator, so that's really a nice compliment.
We gotta move.
I can see you're very upset. I'm going to help you protect the girl.
When this is all over, I am going to kill you.
I understand.
I can't get over the fact that it's been 35 years since the first Terminator movie. Time does fly.
Yeah, and it was a very important kind of film for me because I was still somewhat on the beginning of my career.
You were already quite popular back then, actually.
Yeah, I've done Conan the Barbarian, and I've done the Jane Mansfield story, I've done Streets of San Francisco, and Stay Hungry, and I won the Golden Globe before then for Best Acting Debut and all those kind of things. But I still was in the beginning, I still needed a vehicle to break through. And Terminator was this vehicle.
Did you know that was going to be the vehicle at that time?
No. Terminator was a very low budget, cheap movie. It was $6.5 million.
Even by the standard back then?
Back then, exactly, very cheap. As a matter of fact, we did a lot of shots, a lot of takes illegally. You know, we would go and we needed a shot of me breaking into a car. So we would just drive up on Hollywood Boulevard and we would see a car across the street. And they say, let's go and break into this car. So I would walk across the street and they would film me walking across the street like the Terminator, like a machine, not paying any attention to the traffic. And then they would go up to the car, they would look around and then just boom, you know, break through the window. And I had a leather gloves on, so I was protected. And then just, you know, went inside and then cut. So that was the scene, and then the rest of it we shot inside the studio.
Insane at the same time.
No permission, no permits. We needed the permits. We didn't have the money. It was only $6.5 million, and no one had any idea that this would be such a huge hit, and that it would be amongst the Time magazine's top 10 movies of the year.
Yeah.
And the intellectual kind of critics that normally don't like action movies said that this was a thinking man's movie, and this was extraordinary work, and this was talking about, you know, science fiction, about the future, and about computers and machines taking over, and they really liked that concept. And only after the movie came out, it was kind of clear that we need to do a sequel to that movie, that there was such a demand for the movie.
Okay. Do you think that the line should be, well, it should be so much better if you say, I will be back, then I will be back. You still believe that?
No. But when I argued with Jim Cameron about this line, how it should be said, you know, I didn't have the foggiest idea, nor did he, that this will become the most historic movie line, period. The most repeated line in movie history.
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
I'm back.
I'll be back. So, and then the second one, of course, Hasta la Vista, baby, which was in the second Terminator movie, which means, you know, bye-bye, baby.
Hasta la vista, baby.
In Spanish. And so that was another one that was really a lot repeated. So a lot of my movie lines get repeated. I think it's just because the way I say things, with the accent, with the German or Austrian accent, comes out a little funnier than for the Americans, and then for other people overseas. So they just repeat those lines over and over. And they come up to me all the time and say, can you repeat this line? I just did a speech just recently, a motivational speech. And then I said, are there any questions? And someone got up and said, can you say, get to the chopper?
Run! Get to the chopper!
You know, from Predator. So I'm there in the audience and I'm screaming, get to the chopper! And then they all were applauding. It was the only standing ovation I got for that line. It was very funny. You know?
So after the release of the first Terminator, there got to be a moment when you realize, okay, this is it. I finally made it.
I want to go and be a leading man. I want to be the highest paid actor. I walked around on the street with little posing trunks. It was winter, it was snowing already, and everyone was looking. I was more interested in eventually newspapers and magazine reporters are going to turn up.
So after the release of the first Terminator, there got to be a moment when you realize, okay, this is it. I finally made it.
Yeah, because all of a sudden, you know, when you're an actor, it's always hard to get a good script and to get a good job, to get a good part, to work with a good director. So it's always a struggle. Everyone struggles with those things. But all of a sudden, within 6 months period, I was offered like 10 great action movies.
Wow.
So then I did Commando right after that, then I did Predator, and then I did Red Heat, and my career was climbing and climbing and climbing like this, and then eventually we did another Terminator movie, the sequel, and that became the highest grossing movie of the year and the most successful movie of the year, critically and financially. So then my career really took off. So it really, the Terminator franchise has been very helpful to my career and to my life and the money that I made. I think it also had an impact when I ran for governor because there was a lot of people voting for me because they thought they're voting for the Terminator. You know, they thought that I'm going to be able to go to Sacramento, to our state capital, and to terminate the problems. And, you know, I heard that all the time when I was governor. I thought that you're the Terminator, and I thought you're going to solve the problems, you're going to terminate the problem. I said, no, I said, I only play the Terminator, but I'm a regular human being. I said, and I'm very happy to be a public servant and all this. But a lot of people thought that I was the real Terminator going to Sacramento and being governor.
So dreams do come true. Because one of your dreams was that I want to double my salary with every movie that I'll be doing.
Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I'm one of those people that, and I learned this from sports, that if you set a goal, then you achieve much more, because then you have something to shoot for. If you don't have a goal, then you just float around. You don't know where you're going. It's like I always say, you can have the best airplane in the world, but if the pilot doesn't know where to go, you just drift around. So the same is with your life. In life, you have to set specific goals. So I set a goal, I want to be Mr. Universe. So I trained every day 5 hours, and with great joy, I was training because each set I did, each weight I lifted, I got closer to becoming Mr. Universe, and then eventually I became Mr. Universe and became the greatest bodybuilder. Of all time, and the same was in acting. I said, I want to go and be a leading man. Not only just a leading man, but I want to be the highest paid actor. And I'm going to climb up there where Clint Eastwood is and Charles Bronson and those guys. So you pick a goal like that, not really worrying about are you going to make it or not make it. It's always easier when you pick a goal very high that you get there. If you pick it low, you're not going to get there by accident, you know, so it's that simple. So that I said to myself, okay, I'm going to go and become the highest paid. And so each movie that I did, I was in such demand that I could ask for double the salary and double the salary and all this stuff. Then eventually you get to a point where you become the highest paid actor and you have the best deals. Interestingly enough, it was actually the comedies that made for me the most money.
I really love your comedies, by the way. I think they really show the light side of you. I love Twins and Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So those movies made really
True Lies.
the most
True
money.
Lies is one of my favorite.
With Jamie Lee Curtis, Also directed by Jim Cameron and written by Jim Cameron. So he's very talented with those kind of things. And that's why I love working with him. And this was why it was so great in this movie to have him kind of create the story again and to produce the movie and to be really in charge of the movie.
You know, I've seen a picture of you. I always believe that a good picture is worth 1,000 words. That speaks a lot. The picture of you is a long time ago. You were in your bodybuilding suit, the really brief actually, and you walk around on the street. It was a November day. It was really cold. You were promoting your gym, and people just sort of looking at you with curiosity, but you don't care at all. I think that speaks a lot about who you are and how you get your things done.
Number one, that I just think about the end result, not what do people think about it right now. That's number one. Number two, I studied business. And even as a kid, I was an apprentice selling things and learning how to sell things. And it was very important when you sell things that you let the world know that this product exists. Because if people don't know that a product exists, you have no chance in selling it.
So you have always been very confident and really believe in the things that you're going to sell.
And I always understood that everything that we do in life needs to be sold. You can be a great painter, but if no one knows about your paintings, you have nothing. You can have a great talk show, like you're a very talented talk show host, but if no one knows about it, no one is going to tune in. But because they know and because they advertise your show, now there's 160 million some people tuning in every time the show comes on.
But you knew that when you were very little boy?
Yeah, I learned that. And so I took it very seriously that marketing is about everything. Marketing, marketing, marketing. That's why I like what Ted Turner, who created CNN and created a lot of businesses, he said, early to bed, early to rise, work like hell, and advertise. And that's what it's all about, advertise. Let people know. And so I walked around on the street with 19 years of age, with little posing trunks. It was winter, it was snowing already. And on the construction sites and through town, and everyone was looking. I wasn't that concerned about them looking. I was more interested in eventually newspapers and television and magazine reporters are going to turn up and say, this guy's crazy, let's photograph him and put him in the paper. That's exactly what happened. They put me in a newspaper and they said, you know, Schwarzenegger, Mr. Universe is promoting gym business, Universal Gymnasium, Schillerstraße 36. So that's the street where our gym was in. So I advertised and we increased by 200 members our gym membership.
Okay, and do you still remember the first appearance that you had a long time ago? You got all oiled up and posing in like 400 or 500 people in a small beer hall.
Yes, I was posing in beer halls. I was doing strongman acts. I was doing powerlifting in beer halls. I remember that very well. I also remember then eventually doing a posing exhibition on a round dais that was turning slowly at the Whitney Museum in New York.
Okay.
Think about that. This was the first time there was a live art show, meaning that I was displayed at the museum, at the Whitney Museum, as live art, as a sculpture that I sculpted myself. So that's what I sold to the media and to everybody. I said, I'm no different than an artist. I say, I have to go and decide how much bicep I need to put on, how much deltoid, how much forearm, how much pectoral muscle, how many abdominals, and all this stuff. I say, I have to decide, and then through exercise, I have to create that body. It's no different than a sculptor that is chiseling or that is doing bronze. And so the Whitney Museum took this very seriously and they said, well, let's have the discussion. So they invited 10 top art historians there and had a discussion about, you know, our bodybuilders, rules, sculptors and stuff. It was bogus, the whole thing, but I mean, it was really great. A great promotion for the bodybuilding sport, and again, we got a lot of media attention, and then bodybuilding took off because of that.
And I remember you say that when you look into the mirror, you see, well, some good things, and you see some shortcomings. So are you satisfied with your body, or you've always been very self-conscious and you're not so confident at all?
You know, I always believed in staying hungry. So that means that you're really never 100% satisfied, because otherwise there's no more motivation to go on. So to me, I always looked at kind of like my body. I looked in the mirror and I said, okay, that's pretty good, but it's not good enough. I don't even know how I'm going to win this competition, this Mr. Olympia competition with this body. I need to be better. So I was very critical always, and that's what motivated me always to train harder and to work harder.
You knew that you were going to be someone famous. You knew you were going to do something great with your life when you were a very little boy. How did you know?
Well, I saw it. I'm a big believer, as I said, in visualizing your goal. And I tell people, I always tell them, if you want to be successful in life, and by successful, I don't mean being the richest person or the most famous person, but being successful means, how can you be happy? How can you have a job that satisfies you? How can you have a relationship that makes you happy? Those are the kind of things I'm talking about, being successful. My kids were like coming out of college, 22 years old, and we spent a fortune on college. And I said, what do you want to do now? Oh, I don't know. I said, well, you just studied American history and politics. Is that in that direction? No. I maybe want to be a decorator. So they don't know. They're confused. They're like floating around and they're lost. And eventually you kind of work with them and then they find a direction. But most people just don't do that anymore. But there's the quietness and you just relax and you just kind of do the most important thing is which to create a vision for yourself. Where do you want to go in your life? What do you feel passionate about? When you go to young kids today and say, what are you passionate about? They couldn't even answer you.
What were you passionate about when you were a young kid?
I was passionate about sports. I was passionate about coming to America. I was passionate about being the greatest in something. I saw myself coming to America. I saw myself being a great, athlete, some champion athlete, all of those things. And my father always hated it because my father wanted me to be a police officer like he was. Mine is to be the bodybuilding champion and to be a power lifter and a weightlifter and to do great things, to get trophies and medals. She says, son, you're very sick in the head.
What do you consider to be your biggest personal failure?
I think that my marriage, I can't blame anyone else. Not really. I think the only thing that really bothers me is death. The word retirement. That means you're giving up something, you're stopping something. I mean, I don't know what the point of it is. Why would you give up something that you love doing?